Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. This definitely was not collecting dust in my shelf. Absolutely not at all. I conveniently saved this for the right time. Because somehow, on a random Tuesday night in League Pass, Bam Adebayo surpassed Kobe Bryant. Oh my god, let me wear this first. I'm gonna read you the stat line out loud right now. This is so insane. 20 of 43 from the field. 7 of 22 from 3. Man literally attempted 22 3-pointers in the game. 36 of 43 free throw attempts. Oh boy. Rewatching this game, it's actually so funny to me because I know there will be so many narratives down the line, which that's what happens with a legacy game. That's what happens when NBA history is made. When you pass Kobe and then you see the box scores, as I mentioned, 43 free throws, that's going to get a lot of people talking. So I know just rewatching this game and just knowing what type of narratives will happen from like the people who will reminisce about this game, the people who will watch and reminisce about the game, it's going to be two different convos. Because when you see this type of performance, this type of unusual absurdity, you would think that in every possession, he would be the one demanding the ball. Every possession, he would be like, yo, I'm gonna shoot this, do not get in my way. He might be doing that for the entire game, all four quarters. That's what people might think. When in reality, he was only doing that for like 1.5 quarters. I mean, 2 if we're being for real, but I mean, the first quarter, how he got started was just him being on fire. And what do you do when the guy is on fire? Let me rephrase that. What do you do when a guy is on fire? You keep giving him the ball because he's just on fire. What else? You're just not gonna give it to him? And what I mean by 1.5 quarters of Bam demanding the ball every single possession is pretty much from the middle of the third quarter to the entire fourth. Like second and third, don't get me wrong, there were few instances where Bam was willing to let it fly because obviously he was feeling it. But for the most part, it was not as serious as people were making out to be because it was just making the right plays. I would still see David Mitchell get a lot of touches, Pelle Larsson was driving, Jakob Jonas, Drew Smith were making some plays. This was like the whole second quarter when Bam kind of cooled down from his 31 first quarter onslaught. He was still kind of willing to pass the ball. More so, it was Miami just taking advantage of how much gravity Adebayo was attracting until we got into the late in the third quarter. Now, late in the third quarter, you would think that, Adebayo must have gotten it going with some mid-range or 3-pointers. No, it was just all fouling. It was just all fouling. I'm sure there were a couple drives I was not remembering, but pretty much how he continued to just shamelessly stat pad, and I always say shamelessly stat pad in a positive way. You have a shot at history, you go for it. You absolutely go for it. People will say, oh, how he got it is blah, blah, blah. And then you will just say, oh, I got it anyways. What does it say? I'm second most. It doesn't matter how I got there. I have 83. Nevertheless, I say shamelessly stat padding for third and fourth quarters because it all started in the middle of the third with him constantly getting fouled by the Washington defenders. It was, if you have the pure definition of lack of discipline, what Washington displayed was the epitome of it. You could say that the refs were glazing Adebayo a bit, and I get it. I would like to clarify, be absolutely transparent here, that not every foul was a clear foul. I think the refs were also caught in the heat of the moment, no pun intended. And you know what the crazy part is? Even though this led to the man himself having 43 free throws, I don't really blame the refs that much because, like I said, lack of discipline. So many of the foul attempts were actual fouls. I'll just put it out there. That's the main reason as to why I'm saying this. Whether it was Bilal Coulibaly, Justin Champagnie, Anthony Gill, even though the contact was not extreme, like they were not trying to slap down really hard. Even though it was not the textbook definition of pure hard play, it was still kind of them interfering of Adebayo's motion. As Adebayo was going left, they were just standing still, right? That's still enough to just cause him get off balance. Just a little bump at the hip. That's still a nudge, whether it's intentional or not. And while some can counter that kind of makes the defense kind of useless, what I would say in response, besides you have to watch the fouls and then we can talk about it. But my analogy for it is car insurance. Let's say someone with a car is driving down, right? and all of a sudden someone realizes that the car is not going in the right way. They have to like put as many stop signs as possible, do whatever they can, but they don't have that much time to react. You don't blame them for stopping or attempting to stop. However, they're still in the way, and it's still enough to impede the car to throw the driver off course. The slightest bit or of distraction in direction, and boom, that's enough contact to create so much chaos, pretty much putting everyone in harm's way. So yes, what the bystander did, waving his hand saying stop the car, what he did was morally correct, but technically it still put the offender in majority of last second harm. That's kind of my reasoning. I'm not saying I agree with it, because even I have to say 43 free throw attempts, that's more than what a team you will usually get in the game. But because Washington kept doing that, that literally gives the refs no incentive to change it, because oh, that's just who they are. That's how they're going to keep defending this man, even though the defenders keep telling them that's not how I want to defend. I don't want to keep fouling him. But that's just the reality of what they're doing. And yes, you can make a point that that's really weak rules, but that's just the state of the modern game as of right now. That's part of the rule book. And Washington defenders, I'm not saying they shouldn't do that. I'm not saying they shouldn't do any type of contact, like they should just give up or anything. But the timing of their rotations was kind of horrendous. That's majorly the reason as to why Adebayo was always flown off balance. Because yes, he does embellish a lot, as he should, because he's acting as the main star. Washington keeps giving him a reason to embellish. And also, lots of this responsibility goes to Coach Keefe. I don't care if you're tanking. Alex Sarr was not in that much of foul trouble. Was he getting cooked in the first quarter? Heck yes, he was absolutely getting destroyed. Bam had a huge dunk, he got a couple of 3-pointers. I say this was not great rotations on Washington's defense for the most part. I mean, I believe one of the 3-pointers that led to Bam having like 30 plus or close to 40, like he was just wide open. That was just bad defensive coverage, right? So I get Coach Keefe might have been frustrated with Sarr, but the personnel that was guarding Adebayo was the main reason as to why this foul trouble kept happening and why he kept getting to the line. And I'm not saying putting Sarr on him will solve any of this. Heck, with how Adebayo was cooking him, he might have gone to 60, but that's still enough length, kind of equal height and strength to match Adebayo's girth or whatever. I don't know. It's more of a fight than Anthony Gill and Tristan Vucevic. That's actually blowing my mind. Coach Keefe, I know Washington's roster construction is not the best, but when I see Adebayo on fire, as he was tonight, nothing in my mind screams, you know what, let's put Tristan Vucevic on him. No offense to Vuce, he's not great defensively, so you put him on Adebayo, and guess what, he gives up a ton of fouls and an N1. Oh, we'll try Justin Champagnie, Bilal Coulibaly. As much as I like to praise their defense, oh my god, trying to guard Bam, aggressive Bam, might I add you, that is not great. That's just not a great strategy whatsoever. And yes, smaller defenders are known to have much more, I guess, leeway when it comes to bigger defenders. We just saw it with Caruso getting away with a couple of, fouls on Jokic in the playoffs. However, we also seem to forget that a bigger guy would just simply overpower a smaller guy. And that foul trouble, how much of a lack of discipline Washington was displaying, that's what led to Bam being shameless for the rest of the because the points will eventually accumulate, especially 40 plus free throws. My goodness. We could argue that if Washington displayed a better disciplinary defense, we would be talking a whole different story here. We would still be celebrating Bam, smashing a career high, but not second most in NBA history. Honestly, there's so many wrong areas in Washington that led to Bam Adebayo too. The offensive rebounding Miami had. Dude, okay, let's actually transition to the fourth quarter. You will see it for yourself. Bam being shameless. Again, I do not blame him. By God, Washington did not help themselves. Every offensive board seemed to have found itself in the hands of a Heat crasher. It seems like the basketball gods was just like, yeah, this man is just shamelessly going for it. Give him another shot. I'm in a good mood. Why not? It wasn't even fourth quarter alone. I mean, fourth quarter was disastrous because I feel like Bam wouldn't even have 83 at this point if Washington secured a board defensively. But that was a problem in the third quarter too. When I was rewatching it, Washington is just so bad at rebounding. It wasn't as bad as the fourth quarter, but that rebounding conundrum in the third leaked into the madness that we saw in that fourth quarter. And then, my goodness, just the offense, Washington offense. If you would have told me Miami would have run one play in that fourth quarter and it was much more effective than whatever Washington was running in the second and third quarters, I would have called you insane. And yet, we saw that. The Miami play that was running was kind of like an inverted pick and roll, except that usually that happens when a ball handler is demanding the play to happen. For example, Giannis on the Milwaukee Bucks. Except it was a guard, forward, whoever was near the Bam, setting a screen, and that was able to free up Bam a couple times, and that's how we got those points, man. You could say, oh, it only happened a couple times. In this night, one time is way too many. One time is like, oop, there we go. And he did knock it down through free throws because he got that opportunity. I'm just repeating stuff, but it just blows my mind. That play Spo was running, because that's all they were running, that was more effective than whatever that Washington offense was in the second and third quarter. Dude, the amount of unnecessary step backs they took, just a contested isolation look, whether from Sarr or Trey Johnson, whoever, man. And because, oh, guess what, the offensive play didn't work, everyone's kind of in the scramble mode. Adebayo's like, oh, I'm free. I'm free. Give it to me right now. I have space. You know how Spo's setting up in that fourth quarter. You have to watch that fourth quarter. It's the most hilariously shameless thing I've ever. It was so hilarious. Even fouling Washington to get them into the bonus so that they can get quicker into their motions, which is pretty much just give Bam the ball. I mean, I know so many guys are not a fan of it. I mean, Mr. Andreessen, I bet he was not a fan. But that kind of felt like a habit that Washington helped insinuated. It just gave Adebayo more incentive to have itchy trigger syndrome, or whatever you want to call it. As silly as it might sound, because it might seem obvious, usually when players have these type of nights, when they feel like they're scorching hot, defenses will usually adjust, like literally in the second half. We will not see that. Usually what we see from the players who overcome that, it's just of the player's skill set by itself. I mean, Luka Doncic is a great example. Atlanta is not known for defense, but Luka Doncic, heat checks were insane in that 73-point banger. But here, I'm not trying to downplay Adebayo, but I feel like this is one of those performances where both Adebayo's skill set and Washington itself combined into this. I mean, the fact we didn't even see almost any sort of double team or triple team, especially with Sarr involved nonetheless, the fact we didn't see any of that until late in the third, honestly, not even that much late in the third, just all in the fourth, only in the fourth. And even then, they were really sloppy. Just the fact that happened is more proof that Coach Keefe gotta go. I'm sorry, man. I'm just like, I know I've been harping about that. Every Wizards video I made, except for my Keyshawn George one, literally leads me to saying negative stuff about Coach Keefe. And this man has done it again, y'all. Like, it is March now, alright? I made those videos back in the beginning of the 2025 to 2026 season, and he's still putting up just a resume of how to get fired 101. Hey coach, how do you resolve solving this? Justin Champagne. Bam, man. Hey, there's a reason why I bought this jersey. You will never see that in an NBA game ever. The amount of just flings and just, it's history. Like, his name is forever in the NBA history books, if not already. Like, this is legit. A great case for him to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, this might be the cherry on top. Can you believe that? Imagine myself just going back in time and telling previous me, hey, you're gonna see a player shoot 43 free throw attempts, and you will like it. I'll be like, what? I will like that? There's no way I could like that. Also, how could that happen? 83, I can't believe it, bro. I can't believe it. Hey, Bamonte of all players, he's done it, y'all. He's done it. Man, I'm very curious on how future convos of this will pan out. It will be hilarious, that's for sure. I hope y'all had a good night. I certainly did. Now I gotta edit. Bye, y'all.